Hello, my friends from JC Kids Education. Hear me again with a new story. Remember, I promised you that there is going to be a new story coming in advance? I hope that you really enjoyed with the last story about the highest biking. Thank you so much for sharing the video with your friends and family members. We have 100 subscribers. I am so happy for that, and I celebrate that with all of you. Thank you so much. Please, well, I don't want to waste time talking too much today. Today, we have a new story. This story, to be honest, is about me. Pay attention, but first of all, look at me at the back. What is the name of the story today? Well, in this case, it's not a fable, it's a story, a real story. The story begins like this. Once upon a time, about 15 or 20 years ago, in a place that probably you have visited, Naples, Florida, United States, there was a young man. That's me, Jason. I used to work in a restaurant as a cashier with a lot of people. One day, one Saturday night, it was the middle of the night, and I left my work and I rode on my bike to way home. But you know what happened? In that moment, it started to rain a lot. Immediately, I put on my raincoat. On the way home, you don't imagine what happened. It was a stormy day, thunders, and heavy rain like this. So, when I was riding my bike, suddenly, one of the tires, boom, blew up. I had a flat tire accident. Luckily, I didn't harm myself because I was wearing my helmet. In that moment, I just stood up and I decided to leave my bike and walk back. A few blocks from my place where I live, you have no idea what happened. I started thinking myself how I am going to cross the path to take me from my place to my apartment. You know why? Because I was scared, really scared of lizards, alligators, frogs. Let me explain. In Florida, which is like an island, is the principal state of the 50 states in the United States. When there is a tropical storm, the level of water increases. Even they can get right here to your knee. You imagine that? So in that moment, I have to decide myself to face my fears. Imagine that one frog or one lizard bite me. If you were on my shoes, you could probably understand how I was feeling. In that moment, when I was in front of the apartment and there was like a path for about 50 meters, I had to cross circle stones to get to my apartment. But that's the best moment where frogs jumping, hopping, and even alligators. I had to take a very important decision, but I couldn't make it. I started to cry and cry. I miss my family members, my relatives. Honestly, to live in a different country that is not yours It's not very easy. It's very difficult. To get money, you have to work hard. In that moment, I miss my mom. You don't imagine how much. Do you believe in magic? Well, that is the moment when magic is going to come now. ¿Les está gustando el cuento? No se olviden de suscribirse al canal, compartir y dar like al video. Do you believe in magic? In that moment that I was so afraid, so scared to cross the path, I saw frogs jumping everywhere around me. But in that moment, one of the frogs started shining like a star. Yeah, it started shining like a star. And it was getting closer to me, and I was walking backwards. But then the frog, the shiny frog, turned around and started jumping and illuminating my way. Yes, the frog was like telling me, "Hey, follow me, follow me." At the beginning, I was a bit insecure because it was not something normal. I couldn't believe what my eyes was looking at. But it was true. The frog was showing me the way. So in that moment, I said, "You have to be strong and take decisions, JC." So in that moment, I started walking and following to the frog. You know what happened when the frog just stood up in front of my door of my apartment? The frog disappeared, vanished. I saw everywhere. I couldn't believe that how is possible? How was possible that the frog disappeared? That's what I told you, that if you believe in magic. It was the first time in my whole life that I asked myself, sometimes when you are in a difficult situation, like me, that I was in a shock. I was so scared. A light appears, a light of hope just came to me. I was missing my family members, remember, and my relatives in that moment. But I think that magic was somebody else that probably you have the answer. Help me. I always remember to tell these stories to all my students for years and years ago. That's why I decided to call this story Hop Hop Froggy. And I'm really sure that you will never forget it. Hey my friends, these kind of stories help a lot to people, to encourage you, to encourage yourself, to believe in your dreams, to work hard for your dreams. Hey, even if you are a student, sometimes you ask yourself, "Oh no, I can do the things by myself, I need help." Yes, sometimes we need help, but sometimes you need to believe in you, and you need to do magic. You need to believe in you. I say it again. Well, my friends, this is the end of the story. I really hope that you enjoy a lot and that you share these stories in Facebook with all your family members and friends. You're going to help me a lot, and I'm going to really appreciate it. As I told you at the beginning of the story, this is not just the only one. We have a fable, remember, the highest ranking, and this first history, Hop Hop Froggy. I'm really sure you will never forget it. when sometimes you cannot sleep. I'm probably you. I'm talking to other people now. And you want to tell a story to your son, to your daughter, to your children? Start telling this story. Believe in your dreams. Never forget it. And I want to finish with this phrase. You can do magic. Bye-bye.